Hello my lovely people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jane. This is the first time that you're seeing me. Thank you so much for stopping by. My return subscriber, I love you. Thank you. So when Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali had coup, and they took over the country because of how their people are being treated. So the West, like the America, the France and all that, they gave them, and the ECOWAS gave them the ultimatum and gave them that they must have election by this year, 2024. They must have election. So now, Abraham has answered them. Abraham, I love that man. Oh God, that young man, I like him. He said, there's somebody, one of my subscribers said, stop talking about Abraham. That's my man. I said, I beg, we can share. Don't you see how big he is? Don't you see how tall he is? The same way he is big like that, that's the same way his heart is big. This camera is messing up. Let's finish up quick. So now Abraham has answered them now and said, because they have balanced. Who born monkey? They have balanced and they surrounded themselves with good people. Now Abraham has come and said, excuse me, who is the West? Who tells America and France and all these people from the West? They can talk to the puppet. They cannot talk to us young people. Who tells them when to do election? Who tells them when to do election? They do their election when they want to do their election. They don't have the right to tell us. So for that reason, there won't be any election this 2024. If they don't like it, sorry. So they stopped. They said there won't be any election. They will do their election when they are ready. They fix the time when they will do the election. They will not do the election because the West has said it. They said that's not how it's going to work. Because we don't tell them when to do their election. They're not going to tell us when to do the election. This is a new era of Africa, and we are here. We are here. We, the new generation, are here to challenge them. And I support him 100%. Please hear how he said it. It's not me. It's not coming from me. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
I have never told the Americans or the French when they should organize their elections, so it is not up to them to come and tell us when we should organize ours. There will be no more elections to please the West, said Prime Minister of Burkina Faso. Our priorities are security, the rebuilding of the state and development. If the elections can help us have security, we will organize them. If the elections can help us rebuild our state, if the elections can bring development, we will organize them as soon as possible. We are tired of going in circles. We must get our country out of the environment of poverty in which we have been for a long time. We must be clear that if elections were a means of development, we would have already been developed long ago. We do not organize elections to organize elections. When we are politicians without objectives, we organize elections for the sake of elections. We are not politicians. We are men with a mission. We came for a mission. It is to secure our territory, rebuild our state, and develop our country. If elections can help us achieve these goals, we will hold them. Suppose the elections cannot help us achieve these objectives. In that case, we will suspend them until we are ready, said May Apollinaire KLM of Tambela to the technical and financial partners during this meeting between the Burkina Faso government and its partners. The Prime Minister also made it clear that international partners should thoroughly scrutinize their assistance to determine if it is genuinely aimed at helping each other or if there are other ulterior motives at play. According to him, providing aid to those who are struggling may be helpful in the short term, but it does not ultimately lead to sustainable development. The Prime Minister has called for a significant shift towards empowering individuals and communities to become development actors in their own right, rather than relying on external assistance. This approach will benefit everyone, including the global economy, through increased international trade. The Prime Minister has emphasized that the goal is to move beyond mere aid and establish true partnerships with international partners to structure areas of the economy in a way that leads to long-term growth and development. He has stressed that the ultimate goal is the emancipation of citizens and that true partnerships must be built on mutual respect, trust, and collaboration. A few weeks ago, Captain Ibrahim Traoré also said that elections in Burkina Faso are not a priority compared to security. The democratically elected government of President Roch Kabore was overthrown in January 2022 by a junta led by Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba. In July 2022, the junta agreed to a 24-month transition timetable with the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Then, in September of that year, the 35-year-old Traoré ousted Damiba and superseded the constitution with a charter giving himself unilateral powers. Despite agreeing to keep the previously negotiated transition timetable, the extra-constitutional seizures of power undermined Burkina Faso's nascent and hard-earned democratically oriented political process, which had overcome the 27-year rule of Blaise Compaoré, who had himself come to power in a coup. After mass protests in 2014, Kabore's subsequent election in 2015 was by far the most competitive Burkina Faso has ever held, ushering in a series of reforms. Among these were gains in building a culture of military professionalism and adopting a comprehensive national security strategy. Captain Traoré, who had promised a return to democracy with presidential elections by July 2024, also announced planned changes to the constitution to make it more representative of the masses. "It's not a priority, I'll tell you that clearly. Security is the priority in a country plagued by militia violence," he told reporters, referring to elections. Even so, the goal was still to organize a ballot, he said, without specifying a date. "There won't be an election that is only concentrated in Ouagadougou and Bobo Dioulasso and other nearby towns," he said, referring to two cities that have largely been spared frequent militia attacks. Traoré went on to say he was planning a partial change to the country's constitution, saying the present text reflected the opinion of a handful of enlightened people, to the detriment of the popular masses. "The current texts don't allow us to be able to evolve peacefully," he said. "We are at war," Traoré said, blaming certain actors for refusing to sell the army equipment. "Most of our equipment is Russian," he added, "and there is not much French equipment." Under the leadership of Traoré, the diplomatic relationship between Burkina Faso and France deteriorated significantly. As a result, the French military forces, which had been providing assistance to the Burkinabe army, departed from the country following the request of the junta. Burkina has since moved closer to Russia and formed an alliance with neighboring Mali and Niger, two countries also led by military regimes. Given that Russia is increasingly focused on Africa, President Vladimir Putin has set the task of building up Russia's diplomatic presence in the continent, which implies opening new offices or increasing the staff at the existing foreign missions. The plan is to ensure Russia is represented to the maximum degree in Africa. Russia is open to deepening its technological partnerships and military technical cooperation with other countries on equal terms, and to working with all those seeking to assert their national interests and independent development path. All countries that believe that working together to build an equal and indivisible security framework is essential as a reliable safeguard for every state. Russian President Vladimir Putin has expressed his commitment to provide grain aid to 6 African nations, namely Burkina Faso, Zimbabwe, Mali, Somalia, the Central African Republic, and Eritrea. It is noteworthy that these countries have a history of political instability or have recently undergone coups. Additionally, Mr. Putin has also announced a debt relief package of $684 million for the African continent. This move by the Russian administration is expected to enhance the socio-economic growth of these nations and to strengthen Russia's diplomatic relationships with the African continent.